Today on the channel, my dad is back, and that only means one thing is today, NECA, Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein.
The spirit of the warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, back again on the channel with a special guest today, my dad. Dad, say hello.
Hey, hello.
Dad is back because we're talking about Universal Monsters once again, and this one we got the long-awaited, highly anticipated, maybe, we'll see what happens. We have the Bride of Frankenstein NECA Universal Monster figure. So Dad, we're no stranger to these by now.
No, I'm associated with a lot of monsters.
You are you? Do you want to name any?
I'm a monster myself, I guess.
Name a few. You got the height of Frankenstein. But the charisma of Dracula.
I wouldn't name any for fear of a lawsuit.
There you go. You never know in this day and age. People lawsuit crazy.
But some people don't think they're a monster, even though they are.
Oh, I know that's true. I know that's true as well. In my day-to-day job, I know that every single day. I deal with it on a daily basis. And I'm sure a lot of the people out there, they have the same issues out there. But today, we're talking The Bride of Frankenstein, Universal Monsters. And we're, of course, going to do this review like we do all the reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And, of course, if you're looking for The Bride of Frankenstein, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% on all in-stock items. Anything over $59 does ship free. Got to get a deal. And Dad, you got a deal too, because I also got you one of these for your collection.
Very good.
And Dad, you're still mint on card, mint in box on these.
Still doing it.
We're opening them here at his house. They're all on card. It's like a bookshelf. It looks good.
You need a lot of room because you'd have to display the boxes behind or something, and then you've got the different sets that you could put with it.
And you're still working on a collector's room, right?
I am.
My sister's room. He's taking it over. It's going to be his new collector's room, right?
It's not that room.
It's not that room?
No, it's really the storage room.
Oh, the storage room. Oh, come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing? You're going to have a Bill Russell jersey hanging up, a Larry Bird, a Kevin McHale, a Dennis Johnson, maybe? DJ.
Yeah.
Oh,
DJ. Love DJ.
What about D. Brown? Didn't make the cut.
Pass on D.
Didn't make the cut. Didn't make the cut. But Kevin Garnett?
No.
You're only old school Celtics. That's all. The Chief, Robert Parrish.
Love Chief.
Chief
Love
could
the
go
Chief.
there all day long. Chief all day long. So Bill Walton in Celtics jersey.
Bill Walton's a good guy.
He could make good,
great college player. Too bad he got injured so often.
The greatest NBA announcer of all time and college basketball announcer of all time.
He's very funny.
He's going to take a trip on the ship. That's what he's going to do.
Following that Grateful Dead around.
That's right. He's the ultimate warrior of the NBA in a lot of ways, if you think about it. He's very psychological, a lot of metaphysics, a lot of stuff going on with old Bill Walton. And maybe one day we'll have a Bill Walton figure we can unbox on the channel. That would be a video in itself. But
he hasn't had one since starting lineup.
I know. It's been way too long. We need to get a Bill Walton figure. Speaking of figures, let's get down to business. We got The Bride of Frankenstein. Any thoughts of this? Now, I believe this is probably the movie poster, right?
It is. Yeah.
Doesn't ring a bell to me at all. And I guess, first off, I am by no means a Bride of Frankenstein expert. It was a very boring movie for little Kyle. I just wasn't feeling the flow, doing the bowl dance, doing all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't
This was the greatest sequel ever made. This was a sequel to Frankenstein. And obviously it has on the box Karloff. Boris Karloff played Frankenstein again in this movie. But the greatest sequel. It very seamless move into this movie from Frankenstein, and just from the pictures that I'm seeing here, it looks like they picture Elsa Lancaster.
That's her name. I knew it was Lancaster.
It has to look like her to be a legitimate.
And we'll get into that with the figure here, but and wasn't Bela Lugosi in this movie? Wasn't he Igor? Which one am I thinking of? He was Igor, the Hunchback.
He was in one of the other Frankenstein sequels as Igor.
That's right.
Son of Frankenstein was one, and he was also Igor.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay, well, in the front there, the Bride of Frankenstein right there. On the side, a little glamour shot action. I love what they did here on the other side. They give her a little mummy wrapping side. So it's a 2-in-1 figure at the end of the day here. Hardcore fans like us, of course, going to need two of these. One for each look, I'm sure. And then on the back, we got all kinds of stuff. This is very... I don't know what the word is for this, but it's very, like, all-encompassing. Almost looks like a poster as well that it could be right there. Bride of Frankenstein looking good. All the different head scans going on and things like that. And then, of course, the traditional NECA window box right there. Glamour shot. Big window box. All kinds of stuff in there. So without further ado, let's get her out of the package. Let's see what all the fuss is about. I don't know about you. You don't live far from me, but there's been fuss in my neighborhood about this.
There has.
Has there been fuss in your neighborhood? Have you heard anything?
You must...
See you later.
Well, my
Goodbye.
neighborhood's probably a lot older than yours, so I don't know.
Plastic prison. I don't know. There's people fussing. That next door neighbor of yours, he's fussing all the time, isn't he?
You could say that.
He's always fussing.
Get off my lawn, huh?
Yeah, he's always fussing about stuff. What do we got going on here? We got this locked down.
We got a double prison.
We got a double plastic prison on her. What is going on here? Why is this not? I don't see any tape. What is the major malfunction here?
You got it.
Is there tape?
It's coming apart, I think.
I don't know. Well, it is locked in. Right
okay.
there.
There you go.
They pulled some trickery. They pulled, dare I say, some tomfoolery.
Oh my!
You're very familiar with tomfoolery. But where is the other? Oh my gosh, this is different than any one I've ever seen. So this is a new one for the Universal Monsters.
Well,
they got.
It's difficult to keep the bride down, you know.
It's true. A
She
good
wants
bride.
to get out and mingle.
What is going on? Smell this. We're unboxing this. This smells like China.
Yeah, it does.
You just might have got COVID.
Last time I was there.
This is the last time you were there? This smells like it's straight out of the factory is what this smells like. This is overpowering because it's sealed in here.
Ah.
Like so. So there we go.
You
See you
got it.
later. I don't know what that was all about there. Oh no. Oh no.
What happened?
What do you know what happened? I cut it. I cut her little wrapping. Are you kidding me? Oh my! Or no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't cut it. Oh my gosh! Heart attack almost here at the table. And I have nobody to blame but myself.
It just fell out.
We've had videos where, of course, things have broken, and I've had a little meltdown from time to time. No different than when I was like 6 years old, I'm sure.
Oh boy!
But we've had meltdowns before. This time, thankfully, I thought when I went in there I cut this off, but no, it is a singular wrapping. It was supposed to go in there. So
There you go.
Crisis diverted. See you later. Oh man, that was.
Take a deep breath.
Whew, things like that eat me alive. They eat me like I would keep me up for weeks knowing I cut that one. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
I was just sitting here thinking, I'm glad I got the one that you didn't cut.
Yeah, I bet you were. I bet you were. That makes sense. All right, there it is. Everything's there.
All right.
Everything's out. See you later up high. Oh my gosh, knocking things over. It's a dangerous meeting. It's a dangerous game. We got twist ties everywhere. But we're going to break this one down. We're going to break it down, and we're going to see what all the fuss is about with this, like I said. So now, talking about this movie here, I did mention earlier I was not a big fan. I remember watching it long ago. I remember it being very long, and you said it was like, isn't it like 2 hours or something like that?
Maybe close, yeah.
That's a long movie, especially in this day and age in the rapid society. But it was a very long movie, but I remember it being very boring. And I remember the Bride of Frankenstein not being there until like the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
That's true.
It felt like it was a long build-up and all that. But you were saying beforehand about this that she was at the beginning. You want to set the precedent of the movie a little bit?
Elsa Lancaster played Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, who wrote the novel Frankenstein, in the beginning of this movie. She's sitting in the living room with her husband Percy and Lord Byron, the famous poet, and they're discussing, you know, how great the Frankenstein novel was and its reception and all of that. And she says, "Oh, but there's more to the story." And then they slide into the sequel, which begins again with the old wooden windmill where Frankenstein monster and Dr. Frankenstein ended up, with the villagers burning it down. Dr. Frankenstein is found outside the fire zone, and he's taken back to his home to be nursed to health by his fiancée, who becomes his wife then later. And then the Frankenstein monster disappears. He's down in, like, below in the water.
Yeah. Like dungeon.
Yeah, the old couple that
take him in.
They went searching for him. Their daughter had been killed by Frankenstein, so they wanted to make sure he was dead down there.
Wait, that was the one where he threw him in the water, was it?
He threw the girl.
Very famous, famous, of course, where he threw her in the water.
But the parents wanted to make sure he was dead. They went down there.
Rightfully so.
He rose out of the water, killed both of them, and then the movie begins on his trek to see Dr. Pretorius and Dr. Henry Frankenstein later.
You know, this reminds me too. You ever heard of the wrestler PCO?
No, I haven't.
Well, he plays Frankenstein. He's unkillable. And actually, there was a match a couple weeks ago, and this is going off the rails as usual, but he's like Frankenstein. He's supposed to be undead, but he's like 60 years old. He's doing all these crazy moves. What league is he in? Impact Wrestling. And you said, I don't know what that is, but I'll show you some clips. But anyways, he kind of has a Frankenstein gimmick where he does all these crazy things to him, and he says he's not human because he does, I mean, he's 60 years old doing flips onto the floor, like Terry Funk back in the day. That's kind of what you kind of equate it to. But crazy thing in the match that he had on the Impact pay-per-view, it was a bloodbath, of course. But you know what they did? They got a stapler out, and they stapled his mouth shut. with real staples.
That had to hurt.
And then he sat there and he pulled them out. He got little things and yanked them out. Reminds me of Frankenstein there. So,
boy, that's showbiz.
anyways, off the rails, like I said. But we got the plot right here, a little bit of the Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. And like I said, not my absolute favorite. I kind of put it down below with the Mummy a little bit for me. But it is weird because it is very iconic. Her little bit of screen time there, very iconic to get an action figure, of course. And I think you ask the majority of people that maybe haven't seen the movie in a long time or haven't seen it in a long time, they think it's like a long movie about her and Frankenstein. It's like they create their own vision in their head about things like this. So definitely amazing.
It has a lot of twists and turns. This Dr. Pretorius story, he's the mentor of Henry Frankenstein, science mentor. And he's created a lab where he's got all these historical figures in little test tubes, and they're alive. And he is the guy who actually creates the brain for the Bride of Frankenstein, where Henry and his accomplices create the body. They collaborate, and Henry's reluctant to do that, but Dr. Pretorius has kidnapped Henry's wife.
Oh, that's all it
and
takes.
says, we'll let her go only if you help us build the Frankenstein mate.
If they kidnapped Angie, I'd just say, you keep her. She's yours. Finders keepers. That's what I would say. I just move on the road.
And we'll help you build the monster anyway.
It will help you build the monster anyways. But that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's dive in here now. We do get a bit of a 2-in-1 figure like we were talking about. You got her wrapped up before she was unveiled, and then you got the unveiled edition. So the accessories with this one, you got 2 hands. No fists of fury on her. Very interesting. I don't know if she threw a lot of punches in the movie.
No,
I don't think she was a puncher.
That I remember.
She wasn't like a young Bruce Lee, but we got wide open hands and we got tight hands that are in slapping position. So I don't know. I think I would have liked a fisted hand. Maybe that's just me. You know me. I love fisted hands, but not this time. Not this time. Not today, Kyle. Now we do get these wrappings. I don't know. I want to call them mummy wrappings, but not sure exactly what you call them. But you would put these over her hands here, and she would kind of be dangling with those, like a mummy in a lot of ways. So you get those. Nice off-white kind of dirty gray color to these, I would say. Very mummy-like. Now, there is going to be a black and white edition of this one as well. So when we say the 2-in-1 edition, I guess theoretically you get both of them. You could have one displayed in the mummy look and one in the regular look. That could be your 2-in-1. Or you could be a hardcore collector and you get 4. Like the 4 Horsemen. You could do that if you wanted to. I don't know. Could you name the 4 Horsemen? That's a good question for you.
The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse or the 4 Horsemen of Notre Dame?
Of wrestling. Or all 3.
Oh.
Well, I think I don't know if you could. I think if I told you, you'd say,
Wasn't Tully Blanchard one of those?
Oh, there you go. One of my all-time favorites. Tully was in there.
And,
of course, the leader of the Horsemen. Wheeling and dealing. Of course.
Ric Flair.
Yes, of course, Ric Flair. So you knew that one. I'm surprised you knew Tully Blanchard. That would be one I wouldn't think you'd get. But then there's been many incarnations, so there's a lot of places you could go. And one of them is probably one of your all-time favorites, a big guy. He used to do the power bomb, blonde hair. He was a favorite of yours.
Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious.
Oh,
I knew that was that was my hardcore time.
I didn't remember
watching
that, but I do. Yeah,
Sid was in there until he got in that fight with Arn Anderson. He stabbed Arn Anderson with a pair of scissors a bunch of times. Which I just gave up the other one there, Arn Anderson.
That's against the rules. Isn't
it wasn't. He lost his job. And then he went to the WWF, became Sid Justice, and the rest was history. He played softball. We could go on for days. But back on track here. Okay, let's go through the heads. We're going to do the mummy head first here. She looks like Snake Eyes, or she's going for a motorcycle ride, or possibly a snowmobile.
Or maybe a patient who's undergone plastic surgery.
That too, no doubt about it. But she's got the staples up across the top there, eyes bugging out. She's got the bugged out eyes. She must have got some of that Hulk Hogan coked up eyes going on there. If you've seen the Hogan reviews lately, he's got a lot of coked up eyes going. And who knows? She could have been.
Well, they had to use staples because in those days they didn't have duct tape.
That's right, once again. And some people easily confuse that it's actually duct tape wrapping on this. Not true. Not true. Not sure where that rumor started.
No.
So we do get this head here, a very interesting peg, a little square peg there. It's usually round. But then you do get, would you call this a mask? What do we call this exactly? But this goes right over there, I assume. Yeah. Right there. So it plugs in, and now I can't remember the movie and
so you have the suspense of taking this mask off and then unwrapping the bandages and coming out with...
Yeah, was there a reveal scene where they took just that part off somewhere in the movie? I am assuming that was probably the case. So we do get that. I think it gets the job done for what it is, for sure.
Very good.
Now we get down to her right here, the old bride herself. We get 2 heads, and I think they would nail these. Now, Dad, you said something very astute, as I have something This is for a future video. Sometime when Dad comes over, this will be one of those long game ones. But I do got the Bride of Frankenstein Jada Toys Universal Monster, and of course I got Frankenstein as well. We're gonna unbox these on the channel. I don't know when. Down the road. Down the road. This isn't urgent. This isn't urgent. Is what this is. But
this one is.
This one very urgent. Very urgent. We had to get down to the devil's in the details, as they say.
Love NECA.
Love NECA. Yeah. So. And longtime NECA supporter. I think from day one you were buying NECA stuff. I think if I
well, they're realistic. I mean, they look like the actual character.
Yes, long time. We've been at this game for a long time. Yeah. We're waiting for our own show. That's what we need. We see these Netflix shows about collectibles. We could be the father-son duo. Take us on the road, Dad. There's been some people saying we should get a podcast.
Oh, well.
I think what we do is we do like a once a month, maybe bi-weekly. It's just a half hour. We get a topic. Somebody throws us a topic about anything, and then we just talk about it.
Oh, wow.
It could be anything. It could be anything in the world. We'll see. We'll look at the comments of this video. People can vote on it if they want to. But anyways, yeah, what?
No.
Oh, I thought you had some. No, I thought you had some.
I know she'd want to do a podcast. There'd only be like 5 people that would listen.
Well, there would be. Yeah, you're right. You know, I was thinking about Angie and the kids, but they don't even watch my stuff.
No,
I can't even get them to give me a follow.
Okay.
But anyways.
And my dad's not on YouTube or the internet.
We'll have to get him on there. We'll have to get him on there. But we did get 2 heads here, and where I was going with that Jada Toys one, you made an astute observation. A skilled researcher would know this, and it went over my head. But Dad, what did you see in the hair on this one here?
Well, the white stripes are uneven on this figure, and they are in the movie.
And that is the way it's supposed to be.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Obviously, when you're cobbling a new person together, like it's not going to be perfect. And I noticed in that box they were
even
straight
lines on the sides.
Lines, yeah.
And I would have went right past that one. I didn't know that attention to detail, and I never noticed that from the movie either. So the lines on the side and the white lines are uneven, and that is the way it's supposed to be. So I could see some people reviewing this saying, "Ooh, NECA quality control, they messed up. The lines are not even." So that was a good look by you there. Of course, the hair. A lot of people, I don't know if you know this. Somebody out there fact check that if they want to. Dad, you can fact check it right here. Marge Simpson's hair was actually based on the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. It's called the Beehive.
The Beehive, of course. Right. And did people actually have that back in this day?
Yes, they did.
You were just a little guy back then, but did you look at these ladies saying, "What is up with your hair? What is going on?"
I avoided them whenever I could.
Bet you did. We had stories about the old nun at Sacred Heart. We talked about that. The old school. We'd walk the other across the street. You probably did the same thing. I probably learned it from you.
Well, the Beehive meant trouble.
It meant trouble.
It meant big trouble.
I totally understand that. Yeah. I think if I saw an older lady or a lady walking around with a beehive, I'd say, "Uh-oh, that's not good. I'm going to the other aisle. I'm going across the street."
Yeah, you got to do it.
I think so. I think you do. But it does look good. It does look true to form. Now, a lot of times, of course, it being a black and white movie, people think of it as black hair, but apparently it was kind of a brownish red, apparently. Right. So there you go. The more you know, folks, the more you know. So this head looking really good. A very
good.
Stunned look. A very, I just woke up from sleep look. I don't know what we would call this
When they took the bandages off, she looked very robotic. Her moves were robotic. Her face twitched robotic. And so she was... first impression of seeing another live person and so on and so forth.
Soaking it all in.
So that's very good likeness of that.
Very surprised look. Big eyes. Got the mouth going on. Of course, we talked about the uneven stripe, but a big head for sure right there. Almost looks like a cone head. Shout out to Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin. I think they watch this all the time. They're big fans of the channel. I'm sure. But then this head, how about this one?
This would be when she first sees the Frankenstein monster. Turns and sees it, and instead, I mean, he's anticipating this is his new mate, and he loves her, and this and that, and she screams bloody murder when she sees him, and he turns and says, "You don't like me, you hate me, blah blah blah."
And I would make the joke that was like us dating, but no, man, that would never happen to us. We were all like, "Whoa, no, you get out of here." We had to push the ladies away. We did. I don't know. But anyways, that definitely is I like this head sculpt. I think if people are only displaying one of these, this is the one to do.
And that's the movie ends with Frankenstein letting Dr. Frankenstein and his wife leave, and he pulls the lever to destroy the laboratory that his mate and Dr. Pretorius are in. I think he says something like, "You go, we must die."
Yeah. So Call it quits. Get over with.
He's deciding that the evil experiment is over. But then, of course, we've got other Frankensteins.
It's like one of those things you see on the news all the time. It's like the husband killing the whole family. It's kind of one of those kind of things going on back in the day.
Well, and it's all because of that face.
Yep.
She rejected him. It's over.
She did it. She did it. And one thing I
done.
noticed here on the side, you see those red on the face, the surgical scars and stuff. That's nice attention to detail.
Right.
You got it more pronounced on this one because of the mouth being open, but we do got them on the sides of this one as well. So definitely good. I love the skin tone color on this one. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
So there we go. So now we move on here. We move on to this dress here. And feel that. Feel that. Oh,
Okay.
Feels very nice, very silky.
Right.
Silky, kind of. And it does remind me of the Frankenstein, what was that? The table. What do they call that
Tablecloth.
thing? Very similar to that. Very similar. It got some wrinkles in it. I don't know if that'll be for everybody, but I do got some wrinkles going on in mine here. Now, I believe this probably pops off. The head pops off very easily. No problems taking that off. And then she just got some stitching back here. Some very nice stitching on the back. I'm sure that is true to form to the movie as well. And I'm always nervous about doing this kind of stuff. This is where Elle and Emma, my daughters, can come in because they're good at these Barbie quick changes and stuff. But I'm always nervous.
Snags on the bandages.
Yep, it snags
And
in there.
inside
So
the arm.
you can take that off. Of course, it is removable. And then we're going to just, for the heck of it, we're going to put this one on. And those heads go on very, very nice. I like that. Well, why would I put this one on? This isn't the one to put on. This is the one to put on with this.
The Mummy's Curse.
That's right. And that's exactly what it looks like. So this looks like the Mummy. And we're going to do some comparisons here. This almost looks identical to the Mummy figure that we
Bride
had.
of the Mummy? This is going to be Bride of the Mummy?
That's what
now?
I said. You could be Bride of the Mummy. So if you want to have the Bride of the Mummy, you could do that too. And this is where it's the 2-in-1 figure. But boy, it definitely looks like the Mummy with a different head. There's no doubt about it. A little bit of shoulder action there, of course. But articulation, let's walk through it. Let's see what the surprises are in store with the articulation. Of course, head removable, head side to side, back and forth. So much head articulation. You just change your life at that point. There's so much. Arm's going to go around. You do get a little bit in the way, but it does move through that. So we got that. The arm side to side. You do get the single jointed elbows. Single jointed. You know this, but they are pinless. And you know I love a pinless elbow. We got that right there. Hands back and forth, side to side. Got the big hula hoop up there. No, you got the hula hoop and then the back and forth, but no traditional waist on this one. Those big old mummy-like splits there. That's all about the articulation. She was a gymnast in a former life, I believe. Yeah. You do get the side-to-side, single-jointed knees, of course, and then you get the ankles back, forth, side-to-side. One thing I did notice, no holes in the feet, no peg holes for this one. NECA, what are we doing? That's the what are we doing to the video right here today. We do love peg holes. We love to have those standing in there. But a very, very good-looking figure. I think, unless you're buying multiples of these, I don't see people displaying it this way.
No,
I think it's so much more iconic with this screaming head. I think that's got to be the way to go.
There's such a brief moment in the movie that she looked like that.
Yeah.
So,
well,
everybody was in anticipation of seeing the final product.
Now, people, if you missed us unbox this Frankenstein table, you remember how this was the most challenging build we've had since the aircraft carrier, I believe. I think that's about right. So this was very difficult, but I do think this figure will help some extra sales because obviously you can use this for Frankenstein, but you can use it for the Bride of Frankenstein. So a little 2-in-1 accessory, and I believe you own this set, don't you?
I do, yeah.
It's still in the box, though.
Well, you know, I'm one credit short of an engineering degree.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that? and had I had that one credit, this would have got put together a lot faster.
That's true.
So I haven't attempted my own yet.
This makes a lot of sense. We're both, you know, I think I need to retire soon and we can both go back to college. It would be a great video series. You can get that one credit for engineering. I could get that one credit for that minor in film. Oh, it writes itself.
And
it writes itself.
When I look back at my college years, I always watched the movie Animal House.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like that.
It was.
I said, that was the place I lived.
It was.
Those are the guys I knew.
Animal House, that's true. I mean,
I knew those guys.
So many stories. So many stories. Chris Taylor that was early. That was early, of course. Chris Taylor, wrestling legend.
Knew Chris, yeah.
But a lot of stuff. You, and of course, have you heard about my issues in my not getting along with Greg Gagne lately?
No.
Of all people. And you know, I think it goes back to you because I think one time on the channel you said that if this Greg Gagne guy's a wrestler, you washed your hands with it. You said, superstar Billy Graham, I believe him all day long. Vern, of course, very accredited, very good wrestler.
Yeah, I remember
But then you saw this young whippersnapper, Greg Gagne, coming out there, and some may say he had the buggy whip arms going on. You said, I like his drop kick. I like some of that. And his partner, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, you probably remember him
I remember
too.
Big Jim.
Jim, great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Met Jim before.
Yeah.
But Greg just not getting along. The Power Town crew, it's coming to a head. It's coming to a head very soon on this very YouTube channel. Stay tuned. Power Town's supposed to be here on Thursday. I don't know if you want to come over for a Vern Gagne unboxing, a Luthez unboxing,
really?
Bruiser Brody.
All those guys.
I'm here for it because I don't know if you know this, but I'm just a classics guy at the end of the day. I love my He-Man classics. I love my classic superstars. I'm all in on Power Town. No ill will with Power Town, but I just like to call them out on these things. And you got to be fair and impartial, and I want them to succeed. But who'd have thought we'd be sitting here one day? You were in college seeing Greg Gagne and saying this isn't real anymore, and I'm saying here I'm getting in fights with him. Who knows?
Oh boy.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? But anyways, back to the princess. I keep wanting to say the Princess Bride, and I've never even seen that movie. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
We've never seen it. Andre the Giant was in it.
Andre's in it.
I know that, but never saw it. So I got my non-movie watching from you, apparently.
It must have some depth to it because I heard Elon Musk quoting from that movie here a week or two ago.
Well, there you go.
I haven't seen it, but it must have some starch in it.
It must be a big, deep movie, a deep thinkers movie. One of those. That means I'm out because I don't like to deep think when I have time. But anyways, okay, we got that. But then I did grab The Mummy just for the heck of it.
Wow.
We could do a little comparison, see if it is the same body here.
The Mummy's Bride.
Yeah, boy, it's very close.
That is a marriage made in heaven.
That is. I mean, you could have the female mummy and the mummy. You could have a little tag team action here if you wanted to, but similar but different.
So
it
you have
isn't
any
the same.
mummy children over there?
Yeah, they got a couple mummy kids. A couple mummy kids coming in hot over there. But we do got that. And then, of course, we got Frankenstein. We got the black and white one. We'll put him over here. And then, of course, we got the color one being the color one here. So you can kind of see a little scale size here. And I figured she'd fit on a peg stand, or a ringside stand. Unfortunately not. But how's that look? Height difference. Is that about right?
Yeah, I would say so.
How tall do you think Frankenstein was?
She's very petite.
How tall do you think Frankenstein was?
Well, 7 foot.
7 foot, you think?
Yeah,
what corpse did they dig up back then? You know,
well, they stitched many corpses together, so you can make any size you want when you do that.
It's kind of like those. You see it on like TV every once in a while. These people go to like Yugoslavia or these weird places. Not that they're weird, but you know what I mean. They go and they say, okay, they lengthen your legs at these weird overseas countries, and that's kind of what they did on Frankenstein back in the day. They said, we're going to lengthen this guy's legs, and I believe you had that surgery as a young kid because you're 6'8" and I'm 6'1", so the math doesn't check out. I think you got leg lengthening surgery somewhere.
I don't recall that.
You don't? You would have remembered that.
I don't recall that.
You didn't go to any foreign countries, Bolivia or Belize. I heard Belize, beautiful this time of year.
I was in a number of South American countries, but by that time I was 22 years old.
That was your time in Ecuador.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense because, I didn't really grow until college. I was a little guy until college, so if you went there, we might have, what we might have on our case right here? You know what we could have?
What?
A conspiracy.
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it. Post your...
Yes, Jesse Ventura, hot on the case. You don't want Jesse on your tail.
He's in on this.
You don't want Jesse on your tail. He'll get after you, and he doesn't stop. He's like a bulldog. He's been all over Greg Gagne. There's some past issues back then between those two. But
I see they invited Jesse back to Minnesota to watch the signing of the legalization
I saw
of marijuana.
that too.
Yeah.
He was pushing for. He talked about his wife or something like that, and I think we actually have some footage of that right here. We'll cut in right now.
Believe in it even more now. And I want to be here. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. And I want to be here when this passes into law. Because this is accumulation of a vision that I had over 20 years ago. And now it's coming to, hopefully, fruition, whatever the word is, it's going to happen, hopefully.
Yes, exactly. Jesse, an all-time great. All-time great. I would vote for Jesse in a heartbeat if he ran for president.
Are you kidding me?
What would you? I don't think you would. I'd
have to think about that one.
I would vote for him in a heartbeat just because I want him. I would just love to hear the voice on a daily basis on the news. I just think he would tell like Russia or somebody, hey, I ain't got time to bleed. He would tell that. He would drop some of that stuff.
God knows what trouble he'd get us into.
Oh, Jesse would save the world.
We've got enough trouble the way we are.
Jesse, all day long. Jesse Ventura for governor, for president, for ruler of the universe. That's what I say. Let's bring the conspiracies nationwide. But then I hear today, I haven't looked into it yet, but apparently some whistleblowers came through and said they found the aliens and they got the ship now.
I've heard that.
And apparently, and the guy from the UFO show on History Channel, Ancient Aliens,
Nick,
the guy with the big hair, the Greek guy.
Giorgio.
He said, yeah, something. He said he put a meme out there. It says, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. And he said, I told you so. So these guys that were working in like Area 51 or whatever, I got to research the story. But apparently he came out and said, hey, it's the real deal. We got this craft. And watch out, brother. That's what he said. So
I've heard that.
interesting stuff. You never know where these unboxings we go from the Bride of Frankenstein to alien craft to Jesse Ventura.
Of course, that guy was a young man who was saying that. So to him, an alien craft could be a 1968 Volkswagen.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Or a Jeep Wagoneer.
Yeah.
A Jeep Wagoneer. You never know. But we're going to get to the bottom of that one, too. We're going to see what happens. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we got to dig into. And I'm actually leaving for South Dakota tomorrow.
Oh, you are?
That's why I was thankful you could come over here tonight, because I'm going to be out of pocket for about 4 days. You know, some may say South Dakota beautiful this time of year.
It's pretty hot, I bet.
What were your thoughts of living in South Dakota? What do you think back? Now, we left when I was like 5. We lived there for a brief time.
Right.
And any thoughts, any good memories?
You know, nice town, nice people, nice clean town. Not as much to do as Des Moines or other towns that have
now,
similar
you haven't
size.
been there in a while, though, right?
No, it's grown.
It's
I mean,
grown.
It was like 119,000. Now it's about 200,000.
It's grown, and you know, the one thing I always notice when I come up to town, there's like a casino closet on every corner. Was that way back then, too?
No.
There's casinos all over the place, if you want to go. And then there's people on their snowmobiles or ATVs just riding down the street at all times in the heart of Sioux Falls.
Well, the reason is snow removal in South Dakota is called July.
Oh, there you go. And it
So
really
you gotta have
melts.
something.
It really melts.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy my trips to South Dakota because it's so easy to get around. They got that like interstate that goes around it. You just zip through. It's like a smaller Des
Very
Moines
nice,
kind of.
yep.
It's very nice. It's very clean for the most part.
Yes.
People are pretty friendly. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to go up there. And you know who I'm going to be hanging out with when I'm up there? Ryan Sandberg. Yes,
really?
Mr. Sandberg
Mr.
and I.
Cub.
We're going to have a dinner together. It's going to be, we kiss some babies and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure by the end of things, Ryan Sandberg going to be a huge fan of the channel. I'm sure he will be. But and Chris Carter will be there as well for the Vikings. And I know nothing about him. If Chris Carter walked in here right now, I wouldn't even know who he is. I had no idea. I don't know anything
I
about
think
him.
he was on the NFL Today for quite a few years as a commentator.
I didn't even know that was a show. So that tells you how much I follow the NFL. But if you want an autograph of either of those, I'll hook you up. Grandpa might want Ryan Sandberg. Maybe I'll hook that one up there. And I got to be careful. You don't want to call him Ryan Sandberg. It's Ryan. Ryan.
It's R-Y-N-E.
You don't want to mess up. I heard he gets really offended and he will jack you in the jaw if you say it mistakenly. That's what I've heard. I've heard he's got a temper. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be like Andre Dawson when he went in the dugout and he threw all the bats out. I remember I was watching that on WGN when I was a little kid. It was quite the day. Quite the day. Anyways, enough ramblings of a madman. Let's finish this up. The Bride of Frankenstein. What do you think? How does this fit in your Universal Monster collection?
It's right up there with Frankenstein, Dracula. It fits right in. It's authentic. The accessories are nice.
It's not my favorite, but it is very, very good. Yeah. It is very good. I think
it looks like Elsa Lancaster, and that is the test.
Yep,
and it does. Just like Dracula looked like Bela Lugosi.
I think they've done a fantastic job on every single one of these figures. They just can't miss at this point. Now we got Phantom of the Opera coming maybe end of July if we're lucky. So that'll be the next one. That's another one I'm not a huge fan of, but we'll talk about it when the time comes. And then right after that, on the heels, we got the Creature. And the Creature from the Black Lagoon, that's going to be an all-timer. There's no doubt that's going to be a top 10 figure of the year for me. And Dad, once this is all done, and once they got all these made, we're going to ask you back, and we're going to do a joint top 10 list, and we're going to put them in order of how we like them. We did that once upon a time about our favorite versions of the character. Now we're going to do a top 10 of the actual figures and where we put it. So
I've got a long ways till I can retire.
Oh, a long ways to go. In a short time to get there, like Jerry Reed always says.
We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Yes, Jerry Reed, of course, always says that. Good throwing that in there. You know, we're just missing the Rob Halford. You know what Rob Halford always says?
Message from Rob Halford of Judas Priest.
Step on the red, cross on the green, never take a ride in a stranger's machine, and always make sure you're burning on turbo power.
Exactly, that's exactly right. So there it is. A good one. To me, it's not as good as some of the others, but it is still awesome. It pairs well with Frankenstein. I love the 2-in-1 aspect. You can't go wrong at the end of the day about this one. So a lot of fun on the Bride of Frankenstein, of course. Shipping right now, so if you're after it, you better look it up. Entertainment Earth should have it any day now, so be on the lookout, be on the ready. So there it is. The Bride of Frankenstein, of course. Don't forget to like this video. Every like makes my dad smile. He gets so happy every time. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Dad, we just finally hit 30,000. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? 30,000 subscribers. Never thought it would happen. Yeah. So the march to 50 marches on.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's a long march. It's a long march. It could be about 10 years of march, but we'll see what happens. Maybe one day. But definitely make sure you do subscribe to this channel. My dad's always here for these NECA ones, so be on the lookout for Phantom in July. Of course, don't forget about the Patreon for early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, early access to the videos, like I said, you name it, it's all over there on the old Patreon channel, and it truly is your best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the Bride of Frankenstein, well, first, Dad, anywhere to find you on, you're totally off social media now, right? Totally done, TikTok's closed down.
A little later, I'll be mulching my garden.
Oh, okay, we'll look for you out in the garden, mulching out there. Any golf yet?
No.
No golf yet.
No golf yet.
He's waiting. We'll see. It's in June now. It's time to get out there. It's getting warm. You got to get out there at 5 a.m. like you used to. Who knows? But we'll look for you on the links. Hopefully, we'll look for you in the garden.
Okay.
And if people come, you can take a picture with them and have a good time. And there it goes. So there it is for my dad, for the Bride of Frankenstein. I'm Kyle, and we'll see you guys all real soon.